7th to order. First up will be Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, led by Reverend Carolyn Hart from the Memorial United Methodist Church.
Let us pray. God of all the nations, you've called all people to lives of righteousness and justice. You've called all people to lives of peace and wholeness. But we confess that sometimes we've cared more for lofty places than we have for places of service. We confess that sometimes we have worked more for power than we have for purpose. Bless now those who gather in this place, O God. Give them the gifts of discernment. Give them the gifts of wisdom. Give them the gifts of vision. To those who lead here, grant clarity of thought. To those who decide here, grant them courage for truth. Keep ever before us the broken places of our lives together, O God, places of despair and disappointment. Set our ears to hear the cry of the poor in spirit. Set our eyes to see the needs of the struggling. Set our hearts to beat in rhythm with yours, and blend us with all people of goodwill, both in this place and beyond, in order that this community might be a signal of hope and fulfillment. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Bostwick,
Here.
Commissioner Manilow,
Here.
Commissioner Phelan,
Excused.
and Commissioner Thompson,
Here.
Commissioner View.
Here. All right. First is public comment, but before we have anyone come up there, we're going to have a check presentation from the Delta County Community Foundation.
Yes, the Executive Director, Gary LaPlante, is here with a couple of members from his board to give us our annual check from the nice gift we get from former resident Dr. Mary Cretins, which helps support a lot of the 4th of July and our rec programs and the cemetery. And take it away,
Mr.
Gary.
Mayor, members of the council, City Manager Buckman, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to be here tonight so that two of our esteemed board members can present a check to the City of Gladstone, which we've been doing now for many years, since about 2008. And my job is simple. First, I want to introduce Mr. David Williams. Mr. Williams is the President CEO of Upper Peninsula State Bank. He's our first Vice Chair. And I'd like to introduce our Board Chair, Mr. Charlie Becker, who runs the Weyerhaeuser operation in Michigan and Wisconsin. Charlie Becker.
Thank you, Gary. As many of you know, Dr. Mary L. Cretins was a former board member of the Community Foundation, but was also a longtime resident of the city of Gladstone. Dr. Mary loved her hometown of Gladstone. As such, her fund agreement with our foundation calls for an annual grant check to be made out to the city of Gladstone for a variety of uses. This is the largest grant check Community Foundation writes each year. So on behalf of the Community Foundation, I am pleased to award the City of Gladstone a check for $178,911.85 from the Dr. Mary L. Cretins Fund.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
And we'd love to get a photo if we could.
All right, guys.
And we also have Connie Magel from my staff who's going to take the picture. Steve.
That was nice. Very nice.
All right, now public comment.
Evening, my name is Orvis Velikit at 34 Mapleview Drive. First of all, I'd like to thank them commissioners that voted to reinstate the public comment back into the meeting. Thank you guys. Next is the issue. I was on the understanding originally the DDA was going to buy the old gas station down there, where the Parks Net is, but now I understand that they just want to rent it. And Mr. Mayor, I highly recommend for you to stop and don't rent it to them, because that's just another black hole where you're going to have to turn a ton of money into it. Please don't take my word for it. Go down there and examine the building. It needs all new bathrooms. It needs a heating system. It needs all new windows put in. And then the garage service park, and where the big doors are, sand floor. Now, is the DDA going to go in there with that building looking like that? I don't think so. Why don't you put it up for sale like you should do? And get some of this property that the city has back on public use to start collecting taxes on it. Don't make it another black hole where we got to pump a ton of money into it, where we will not get 1 penny returned. And I would like a written answer from you, seeing we can't talk, what you want to do with it, or if you will back that idea. Because there's plenty of room in this building for what the DDA needs, how often they need. Let them sit here. We got the fire department where the 2 trucks are, stalls. They can have their farmer market back there. Nothing wrong with that. The space is not being used. Please don't put them in that building down there, because you're just going to have to raise our property tax values to pay for that black hole, where you're going to have to dump a ton of money in there. It needs a heating system too. So please think about it before you vote for that. And I'd appreciate a comment from you, a written answer back. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Okay, then we got a consent agenda for the City Commission regular meeting of February 13th, the special meeting of February 14th, the budget workshop of February 14th, the budget workshop of February 15th, 16th, City Commission special meeting of February 21st, and the budget workshop of February 21st.
I'll move that we postpone, or however you want to say it.
Table
Table the consent agenda because of not having the information up till tonight, so we have a chance to go through it for the next meeting.
You're talking items,
A through
A
H.
through G?
A through G,
yeah.
Okay.
Table all those.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Mantala to table the consent agenda. All those, any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Conflicts of interest?
Oh, do you have a conflict?
Well, I have an affiliation with the yacht club, and they're on the agenda. So I'm not sure if it's conflict of interest or not.
Are you a member of the yacht club?
Yes.
Okay.
You can decide.
I would say it'd be probably better if he not participates.
That's fine.
Do we need a motion? Okay. I make a motion that Commissioner Thompson does not participate in Gladstone Yacht Club facade.
I'll support.
All right. Motion by Mayor Bostwick, support by Commissioner Mantala, for Commissioner Thompson not to participate in item B. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. First up is new business, Gladstone High School Robotics Team 4391 Bot Trot 5K Run Walk.
Yep, the robotics team is asking permission, again, to have their 5K run. Again, going down Braves Avenue, same place. Renee would have been here tonight to ask for it, but she is sick. See, it starts at the high school, goes down Braves Avenue, and they go up Aspen into Mulberry Circle and then back to the high school.
Well, they've done it before, so I'll make,
Yep.
I'll move that we approve the Bot Trot 5K run walk as presented with the map on March 11th, 2017. Good luck to them.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Thompson to approve the Bot Trot 5K Run Walk on March 11th. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the Gladstone Yacht Club facade.
Want me to leave the room?
Yeah.
The yacht club has been approved for 2 grants for a total of $15,000 to upgrade the exterior of their building. Need approval to include this in next year's budget. Approve the project, and then it will be included in next year's.
Okay, didn't we vote on this before? Or, I thought this was, or maybe I was on the DDA one.
They came in and did a presentation, and then they weren't sure as to how big the project was going to be, and then they sort of scaled things down a little bit, and I think this is what they decided on. Does that sound right, Kim?
I don't believe there's ever been a formal before you or the DDA has expended funds for the yacht club previously, but it's been being talked about for a long time.
And we have nothing to worry about. This fall follows the proper protocol of everything what the DDA does and
they're in
stuff
the
like that.
district, Yep.
Okay. And is the facade on the lakeside or is it on the, I mean, which facade are they doing?
It says there'll be the siding on the west and the south side.
Is
on the gables, so
The
they're
west,
doing all-
is that the ends of the building or? How's that
The
building?
west will be the harbor side,
Okay.
and south is the lake side. I know they're putting new windows in, and it's really look nice when it's in.
I'll move that we approve the 2 facade requests being given to by the DDA to the yacht club.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner View, support by Commissioner Mantala to approve the facade for the yacht club. Any more discussion?
I see it's over, so we're only covering the facade part, because there's a little statement in there that says just that part.
If you approve the 15,000.
Okay, was this budgeted in last year's budget with the DDA, or?
It is.
The DDA expended all the facades that, money that they had.
Okay, so they had a meeting and requested 2 additional ones that would go into this year, or just going
This
with?
would go into the 17-18 budget, so they would not be, the funds would not be expended until after April 1st of 2017.
Okay.
For the new fiscal year.
construction season.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I love the assistants.
All right, next is introduction of fiscal year 2017-18 budget and set public hearing.
Yes, we've met several times with the commission. With sickness and work, we've never truly had a full commission or a full group of supervisors. Talking with the mayor, he thought it might be better to have a special meeting first, to go over and discuss your wishes.
Yeah,
and,
discuss our options.
That's a great idea.
introduce it at the first meeting in March, and then approve it at the second meeting in March.
Looking for a motion?
Yeah.
I move that we set a special meeting to
When?
I'd say next week,
next week.
probably like, what do you got next week?
I got a lot going on with my business. I got the state coming in and doing an audit on me,
Right.
and I got my buses being inspected, so probably either a Monday or a Friday. 'Cause in the middle of the week, I'm gonna be pretty busy.
Right.
A week from Monday? A week from today?
Don't we have
we're
another
talking about-
meeting scheduled for that?
We have
The
a meeting
6th?
with,
MML is the 6th.
You guys are at work. I mean, yeah, you guys are, well, if you set that, tonight you're at.
Right, that's
Well,
another
Tuesday.
agenda item.
Next
Tuesday
We
would
could do
work?
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Okay,
Long-
I'd say yeah.
Does that work? Okay.
I move that we have
I'll try.
a budget meeting a week from tomorrow, next Tuesday,
March 7th.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we would also need to, no, we wouldn't. We introduced it. And have the public hearing for the 27th.
We can do that at that meeting.
We can do that at the March 13th meeting.
No.
No, they would the formal introduction to the public hearing on March 13th, and then they'll set the public hearing for March 27th. On the 27th, you can approve it once you file the public hearing. You can do that the same night, but you can't set the public hearing adopted. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Would have to, on the 27th.
So what?
You want all that in the same motion?
No, we were, sorry, we were trying to decide whether you needed to set the public hearing, for the
Tonight.
27th. But we'll do the formal introduction on March 13th, and then set the public hearing for March 27th. And then March 27th, after the public hearing, you would have to adopt it that night or before March 31st, so.
Sometime.
Okay.
And the other thing is, okay. well,
I'll-
no, wait,
also-
I'll just let you finish your motion, and then we can have
I
to.
think I was done with it.
I'll support.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Thompson, support by Commissioner View, to set a budget workshop meeting for March 7th?
13th.
No,
Oh, 7th?
March
It'd be the
7th.
7th. March 7th at 5 p.m. All right, now discussion. I was just going to say that the DDA met last week and changed their,
Thursday night, we had a couple of DDA members here. We had a good work session and went through and came up with a bunch of good projects, some street projects and some utility projects, and us fixing up the playground and the roads down around where St. Francis is going in. So
So you'll have the new numbers.
Yep, I have the new numbers here. I'll get a copy. We'll get a copy to all the commissioners, and then update on the cover sheets of each one of the categories too, to make sure everything's, all the right numbers are there.
Okay. All right, any more discussion?
Well, I was just wondering if we could have any figures on our options with MERS. I went to a lot of training, and a lot of cities have re-looked at the evaluation of the MERS program and all the different options, kind of like the different plans, like 80% to 70%, 3-year to 5-year final average cost. 25 years and out, but must be at least 55 years of age. I mean, there's a lot of options that they did to get their city back in line. The other thing that,
That would be part of contracts, though.
well, contracts are now.
Yeah.
So now's the time to, if we could have all that information brought to us to let us look at, if there was anything that could help our city out. And the other most important thing too would be health insurance benefit. Public Act 152 of 2011 and Public Act 270 of 2013. There's Section 3 and Section 4. And there's some other items in there, but I'm kind of looking at how does that affect our bottom line on saving money for the limited employer's contribution, that what options we have. Because that's another thing that a lot of cities I've noticed, during contract time, they went in there and they changed that item. And then one other thing, our rate studies for the budget. I see the electrical fund is putting in an exorbitant amount of money. Have we ever decided on doing a decrease in our electric rates for commercial maybe or something? And I know Darla talked about it to me before, that it was something we could look into, but I don't know how long that rate study is going to take.
And it'll be done probably in the summertime.
And then the water fund, it's losing money this year. And I hate to raise anything, but something like, as a businessman, I look at it and say, well, if we're losing money, we need, instead of raising it an exorbitant amount a year down the road, what's, a small amount now would be something to look at to keep that balanced. You lower when you can lower, you raise when you can raise. And I think that's good financial, sound budgeting. I know we always have a balanced budget. And what else was there? Well, most of this other stuff I would I'd probably bring up in a different session, but I did a lot of reading, and I can see where this is a difficult thing for cities to do. But it's something I think that if we all had that information, we could see if there is any benefit to it. Just like, I don't feel right personally, and probably some citizens have, well, not probably, some citizens have talked to me about the electrical rates, paying additional amount every year for the MERS retirement, which should have been kept up to snuff already every year.
We're tracking those numbers just like in each category.
Where did we go wrong though, Eric?
The audit is broken down by the different utilities and the general fund, who owes what. And so we're tracking how much we're putting into the pension stabilization fund by who's responsible for paying for that.
Yeah. Well, I broke it all down on payroll this time. Remember last year I turned in 4 sheets of stuff I thought we could look at and see if we can trim a little bit there. Well, we didn't do anything with that. So this year I went into the payroll section, and and that's why I'm bringing all this stuff up. But I know that the millage rate is also included in this budget, and I'm not for right now raising the millage rate. Number one, $100,000 is what you're taking out of that millage rate for the MERS, right? And then the millage rate gives us how much? 160 or 70?
$1,360.
Well, there's an additional $70,000 that we're gonna tax them that I don't, I mean, I can see that we can probably spend it on something, but I don't see where we should include that part in there. When we said that we would, in the beginning, we already passed that concept of using that millage for the MERS retirement. And if we only need 100,000, do we have to do the full millage?
We could do the 170,000 right out of the general fund. Make that work.
I'd say,
Because we have to pay for it according to what category owes for it. The general fund owes the lion's share because the number of employees, including public safety, that have retired under that, or are.
Well, I don't want to be judged on what I'm saying here. I just want to be judged on the merits of what I'm trying to look at to do for our citizens. And I kind of came to the conclusion on talking to people why they don't come to the meeting. And basically what everyone I've talked to have said was, we're trusting you to make sure that when you make a decision, you have all the facts and figures that you need so things are done correctly. And that's why, I mean, Jay, you went to training, so you must have learned some of this
Right.
stuff too. If you haven't went to the training with MML, to the different places, into these seminars, you would never know about this stuff because we don't have a manual, we don't have anything that tells us, hey, there's different ways you can do this, things that could cut your budget. Make it more economical for you to fix your roads, to buy your trucks, to fix your buildings. And that's what I'm looking on, overall. I have a page and a half here that, and I'm not going to go through all of it, but maybe someday, Eric, I can sit down with you and you can steer me in the right direction a little bit and say, no, we can't do that.
A lot of those items on there, though, are part of union negotiations.
And that's why I bring it up. That is the right now. Every contract in the city is up. It's most important right now for us to look at the overall picture of everything. Because if we lock into doing something again and we don't have the funds later on. See, I would like, the other thing that I missed on it, see, I read other people's budgets throughout the whole state of Michigan. I've took it very seriously to see what's going on. They also have a column, which I did here on my own, the percentage of increase or decrease on items. And projections up to 5 years. I just don't like making a decision. It's like we're living paycheck to paycheck, budget to budget. I think we got some big ticket items coming in our water department or wastewater or something. I mean, millions of dollars. And all that should be looked at for projected budgets for the next 5 years. I mean, where are these rates going to go? Where is all this stuff going to go? And it's just the way I think right now. And if the other commissioners don't feel it's as important, that's fine.
I agree. We have rate studies, cost of service studies that are going to be happening, and we have 4 contracts out there, but we have to have an approved budget by the end of March. So that can be amended.
Well, I would like to see, and I know we're not talking contracts. The reason a freeze on all the contracts till September, a 6 months freeze or something is what I'd like to see, so we can work through this. We have issues with the DDA. We have a citizen that's doing some stuff. I don't know where that's taken us. If you read the paper, there was articles in there that there's things with the electrical, the cost of service, and how that can affect us if we, for lawsuits and class action suits and stuff like that. I think it's all stuff that we should really have some type of grip on a little bit to know where we're going before we just pass something like this. I mean, that's where my heart is. I said too much, eh? Well, I had to get it out.
Right.
I had to get out how I feel. I mean, if people don't like what I'm doing, and they need to step forward and tell me, just like with you,
Okay, so I think, unless anyone else had any more, I think we have to vote on.
I didn't hear who seconded the motion.
All right, all those in favor of having the, what was it, budget workshop on the 7th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next up is the open forum.
Commissioner View requested to have this put on for discussion when the open forum wasn't put on the regular meeting schedule for this year.
Well, I personally had a lot of people ask me why we don't have it. I don't know if the personnel committee wants to go through and come up with a, maybe not every month, or have it like we had it last year.
I would rather see if, I'm not an advocate of the open forums. I'm more of an advocate of a town hall meeting. If there's a subject that people would like to see at a town hall meeting, I would be more in favor of that than just having set times out into the future with no agenda items. I mean, we spend a lot of time in this meeting and a lot of other meetings, and, time is precious. So I would rather see something a lot more structured than just an open discussion. We can have an open discussion anytime. We can have it on the telephone. To commit that time without knowing what we're even going to talk about, it just doesn't seem like the way to go to me. It seems like, a town hall meeting would be better when appropriate. That's my feelings on the whole thing.
I agree with Commissioner Thompson that there's, we kept both public comment sections in the regular meetings for general public comment, and there's always other avenues for citizens to get in contact with all city staff and city commissioners via email and phone numbers. And if there is an issue that is pressing, to have a specific topic for that meeting or a town hall, some sort of structure to that instead of just an open. And also, the back and forth, sometimes I don't feel that we're in a position to discuss or comment openly on some of the topics. There's some of the concerns that are brought up at just in general, and so I'd feel more comfortable if we had a topic of what we're going to speak to and what those citizen concerns are, that both staff and commissioners can be briefed on that and speak knowledgeably to those at the appropriate time.
Yeah, I agree with the other commissioners on that.
I guess I'm the only one that disagrees.
Well, it's just to force something into a time slot just because you have
No,
a time slot.
I know the time.
Just doesn't always work the best. And we covered, in the open forums, we covered some topics like over and over and over again. And, it's really non-productive after a point.
It was mostly for citizens to freely come in and we could have dialogue with them. I think originally it was supposed to be in a neutral setting, because there was some intimidation with some of the people that came here. I mean, they just felt intimidated. I'm not saying we intimidated them, but they felt intimidated. I like the open forum as just to be able to talk to the citizens. I think if you have any workshop or that, you're regulated a certain way, or work session.
Well, a town hall meeting is totally unregulated.
Is it?
It's just like an open forum, other than it's got a topic.
Do we have to be there?
Right, Kim?
I'm
A
sorry.
town hall meeting like an open forum, it just has a topic.
A topic that is posted, and then normally there is a presentation or something on the topic by commission and or staff, and then so the education piece gets out there, and then as people have questions and whatever, you can base it off that, but it is specifically on a topic.
Which would be a lot more productive, because then, maybe some education can happen too, instead of just,
I
have a
thought it was
discussion
pretty,
about-
I've learned a lot from the open forum,
Mhm.
on people's knowledge of city business, knowledge of how they felt. If you really look back, you know, at one time it wasn't that bad. I mean, I'll move that we keep the open forum for the second meeting of the month. I at least have to throw it out there, because that's what I believe in.
All right. Do I ever hear a second? Eyes on the table.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is set a special meeting for MML manager search profile meeting.
This is for, as I was in communication with you, the MML search facilitator is going to be Jerry Ritchie, or Richer, I believe it is. He has connections or affiliation with family, whatever, home in Escanaba, so he's not unfamiliar to the UP, even though he is from Lower Michigan, coming up to do these, to facilitate these meetings. He's going to be meeting with the City Commission, with staff and community leaders throughout the day on March 6th. Looking for you guys in my communication with you guys. You've got
Monday
4
the
o'clock.
6th.
Would be earlier, or earlier a little bit better for you guys on March 6th at 4 o'clock. He estimates about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on commentaries. There'll be a packet of information coming to you as soon as we set this set the meeting.
This is a meeting open to the public, correct?
Open to the public, yep,
We
but it's going to
want-
be,
But
yep,
it's so they can see what the questions are, they can comment on the search,
right,
so.
yep. So there'll be a, public, you could do a public comment period, but it is like a work session, whatever for you guys, so, that you guys can answer the questions. He has like I said, a packet of information he's gonna give you so you know what to expect and what to come prepared for.
I just want everybody to know that it is open to the public, and
It's open to
that-
the public, and I haven't been through one of the facilitated ones with MML, so I'm not quite sure, with the structure. But obviously, if there's burning questions, from the public, but absolutely open for observation. And but it is primarily for you guys to get down,
Get going.
with what you
Yes.
want and looking for. So
What time is the second meeting for community leaders?
community leaders is at 7 o'clock.
7.
Yeah. So, we figured just maybe need a little bit of break in between there, and didn't want, you guys or the previous group to be rushed, to feel like they had to get done. So we were gonna do theirs at 6, but we pushed it back to 7. It worked better for some of them.
Does someone want to make a motion?
make a motion that we set the meeting for the manager search profile with MML for Monday, March 6th at 4 p.m. for city commission members.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Mantois, support by Commissioner Thompson to set special meeting for manager search on Monday, March 6th at 4. Any discussion?
I just had somebody ask me if this followed under the procurement of open bidding for this type of service, for our city policy.
We did not
Be-
put out the city manager search for open bidding at the beginning of the process, whether private or public.
Okay, but I mean, it doesn't, we don't have no policy, I'm spending $20,000 that it had to be or
For
anything?
members of MML, that was a decision you guys could make, but you can veer from your policy at any time you want. If we're going to purchase something, we have to put it out for bids. It was your guys' choice, at the time when you started the process. You went private first, had me do some research, but never once to put it out for bids on anything.
So the city doesn't have to follow policy on,
Commission doesn't have to follow their policy. Staff
Wow.
has to follow it, unless the commission says you don't, but this was your guys' decision to go with this. MML, we're a member of MML,
Okay.
so, I'm not quite sure if that answers your question or not.
well, that'll answer their question. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is city assessor evaluation. I talked to Ms. Esch before, the meeting, and she says it's up to us whether we want to do an open or a closed session.
That's,
I'm fine with an open session.
It's fine. She's
Yeah.
comfortable.
I'm open. Commissioner View, are you okay with it? Open session?
sure, I don't know how we can evaluate it. Because we have no standards or any guidance for evaluating the city assessor. I personally thought it should be done by a third-party evaluator, and there are some in the area where they would, I mean, what are we gonna use? We don't know what I think she's well-liked by the community and the people. I've heard a lot of people say that, but as far as, is there a standard that we need to follow, or on?
The state standard, I think.
No, I talked to some other companies that, you know, like Elja Delta, they hire a third-party evaluator for stuff like that when their board is not familiar with how things are done. And they do have procedures and stuff that they ask for from the city, and then they compare it to what you've been doing. But we can't, I mean, I personally can't evaluate her outside of her personality, because I know her.
Well, she was just tested by the state, and she came out with flying colors.
100%.
That's a great evaluation there, so.
Mm-hmm.
We can keep the state happy, we're good.
All right, do you want to explain what you do for, you know, the general public and all that?
I can certainly do that. Most of my duties are mandated by the state of Michigan. So most of what I do is already reviewed by a higher authority. Because if I don't do those things that I am mandated to do, or if there are any problems with them, then the state will come in and will rescind my certification, and then I won't be your assessor. Basically, my duties have to do with assessment, which is the basis of the valuation of your structure and property, structures and property, any improvements on that. I need to make sure that uncapping the transfers take place, that principal residence exemptions are in place. I do personal property, which is what is big right now. We do exemptions for personal property. We do reviews of personal property. Affidavits and statements that are turned in by companies from, power companies all the way down to mom and pop. I go out usually every year in the summertime here in the city. I run a 20% field inspection, which means 20% of our properties I at least walk by, if not around. Taking the property pictures, review the card to make sure the information that I'm looking at on the card is what I'm seeing physically on the ground. Check to see if I've got rolling roofs, bulging walls, cracked foundations, anything that might change depreciation. If I got new construction that wasn't permitted. If something was torn down and someone forgot to call and say, hey, I don't have that anymore, so I can remove it from the wall. My next process is to make sure all of the evaluations fall within the guidelines set by the county, which are also controlled by the state. Make sure the right multipliers, ECFs, and increases, decreases according to the studies, other sales or appraisals.
So what have you done in the last year? I mean, how many houses have you looked at?
I do
Properties.
about 680. 600 would meet your 20%, but I have new construction, and if it's not done 1 year, I revisit. So they put a percent on it as of December 31st. I'm usually done around November. I don't walk snow. You'll get the rest of it the following year. It's really hard to run tape. That's the biggest thing. Keep your tape clean and to run tape without someone on the other end of it, to make sure you get an accurate reading, which is one of the biggest parts of being a assessors, make sure your measurements reflect foundation standards. Other than that, I passed your AMRs for you. That is a huge project. We had to make sure that all of our maps were in order, that our sales maps and our ECF maps, our land valuation maps were all in order. I have a 6-inch book in back that I had to compile for the requirements that they were looking at to make their determination whether the unit passed or did not pass the inspection. I talked to a myriad of people. You know, I always say the door is open, and yes, I'm not here on Tuesdays, but I will make appointments. Tuesday is my day in the office, but you've got the cell phone number. Leave a message. I do other units, so I have to work my schedule around the units that I'm working, and I will call you back and set up. If I can't answer the question or we can't make a meeting, I will come.
Well, yeah, just like to comment on that audit, that the AMRs, I believe that was 100%, correct? So, congratulations. That's very important. I think the job that our assessor does is key to maintaining our tax base and maintaining the budget that we do have to work with, and having that be accurate and fair is of utmost importance. The training that the assessor has to keep up on is also very involved and can be very strenuous. I think we're very fortunate to have such an individual here working for the city, because I know other municipalities are looking for assessors, and at this time it is very hard to find someone to want to take on that role and to do it with the level of competency that we enjoy here in Gladstone. So I would just like to say that I think that you're doing a great job, and we're fortunate to have you and keeping the fair and accurate assessments that we have on record.
We'll keep working on them. They're not perfect, but we'll get better.
Well, the only comment, I kind of agree with the rest of our commissioners and their comments, but I think one of the other attributes that you have is your personality. I've heard a lot of nice comments about how you treat our citizens, and they feel very comfortable with you. And that, you don't hear that very often from officials in an assessor's position.
That needs to be put in the records, because that is not very often.
And it's been multiple people that have told me they feel very blessed after they get done talking to you, even if they pay more taxes or even less. Because I asked them, and they just felt very comfortable that everything was being done to help them out, and not to go after them. So I think that's something our city should be proud of too.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Commissioner Thompson.
There's nothing to add to that. It's
I was just going to ask, I know in the past you said that you're going to be retiring soon. Are you still planning that?
15 months.
15 months, okay. Have you talked to anyone who might be interested in her?
I've talked to several people that are interested. At this point in time, I would not stand behind Penny.
Okay. Well,
But
thank
I am
you for the
currently
frank.
working on a couple that, if they get through their education, I've been giving them a little boost. And you need to do this, you need to do this. Because I've told Eric or whomever that might be in the position, I don't have a problem if when I'm done, there's a lag time.
Right.
I understand that sometimes happens. I hope that does not happen. I would like to have the person at least come and shadow me for a while so they can get comfortable. That's how I've set it up, and form in their mind how they need to set it up.
So what kind of training do you have to go through to become an assessor?
They currently are offering it online. They changed procedures this past year.
Had to
You
go
did
down
have
to
to go to
Lansing.
Lansing. So currently now they're offering this online. You can get it. They may have you downstate a couple of times. You'll have to take course, you have to pass the examination, and the biggest problem with that is you're not getting the personal part of it. You need to walk out with an assessor, you need to be present and see how an assessor works right in the field. So that's the big part. You don't make a connection with the people that you're representing because they pay my salary. It comes through the board, but they pay my salary. If you can't represent the people that you're working for and make a connection with them, then it's going to be twice as hard. And it doesn't need to be. We need to keep communication open and do education to everyone in the best way that we can. That's the biggest part of having local governments and small governments work well.
Well, I think you've done a fantastic job, and anytime I have any questions, you're always there to answer it, and I appreciate it.
I think they'd have co-op education would be a part of that getting certified, where you'd have to do job shadowing.
What we've been trying to do is we've been trying to get the state, because I've been in this business for so many years. I say we because I seem to always have my foot in the door at the state level somewhere. We're trying to get them to develop a course right at Bay College so that you can take everything you need right there and you can climb, because there's more than one level,
Mhm.
3 different levels of certification. If they offered a course right there, it would be something that, I think more people would be served by. Some people say, well, I don't want to go online, or I don't learn online, or I need the one-on-one attention, or I need the interaction with other people. And it's just the way people learn, Some people can read a book and absorb it and they've got it. Other people can't. And I think we need to offer more. In the States, says, well, they consider it, but then they have to have somebody teach it. They have to pull someone that they thought was trustworthy enough to teach it. And it's several things. It's not just one. When I went through, it took me 4.5 years to get through, because we had to have a class for every little section of every step of every level that I went through. So, I went from accounting, basic accounting, all the way up through income approach. We did standards and ethics. We did measurements and assessment bases and forms and terminology, and everything was broke down. And I don't see that as much now. It's broke down in a book, not in the individual 3 to 4 week classes. People I'm talking to have a basic knowledge of construction already, which is really good. A couple of them have sat on board of reviews, which is another great thing. Some have sat on the township or local unit boards, so they're a little bit familiar with some of the terminology and what goes on, which will help. It helps people absorb what needs to be done.
Well, I know that you also do Ford River Township and Park River Township. So you're looking for people for those two, possibly?
Recommend.
They have both indicated that they like what's happening at this point with a shared assessor, and they would be more than happy to look into having the same person if I would recommend them.
Anyone else have anything? All right, well, I just say continue doing
Do we give you an
a
A?
good job. I would say.
Is that how we evaluate this session? Like the school, you got an A or an S, satisfactory now. No, I don't know if they give
It's
grades.
more like an A+.
Somebody said, well, I'll give you an E, and I said, I like excellent.
Excellent. I don't know, I'm just saying.
I was going to say, I think we can comfortably say that she's done an admirable job, and
No negatives
keep up the good work.
for the next
Yes,
5
thank you.
years.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the city manager's report.
I didn't have a whole lot. I included in your packet, email from Jim O'Toole, all the local governments. We got together. Tom Casperson is looking at, the governor signed a bill which gave an exemption to, it's called the veterans exemption on property taxes, which is, it's good. It's great to support our veterans, but when politicians sign bills, they don't see the other side of they're cutting funding to a lot of local governments. And so Tom Casperson is trying to get the money that, right now we have 20, this year so far we have 22 veterans taking use of the exemption, and see over the 4 years it's been a loss of revenue of over 33,000.
Eric, is that the criteria you have to be disabled, or is that any veteran? Do you know?
I'd have to pass to our A+ assessor. That's who I got the data from to turn this into.
You have to be 100, you have to be honorably discharged.
Okay.
That's the first thing. You must be a Michigan resident. You
Second.
must own your home,
Third.
and you must be 100% disabled or 100% unemployable.
Okay.
And that comes from a letter from the Veterans Affairs.
So 20 ain't bad of all the ones we have here. But it is a loss of how much? Quite a bit, eh?
33,000.
About what the hospital's gonna give us.
That's over 4 years.
You look at,
Oh,
that's over 4 years. You
Last
look
year
at-
was
Oh, that ain't-
$8,600.
Look at the school that's cut their funding by almost 50,000, and
Yeah.
Bay College 100,000. So if you add everything up, it's
Well, all the townships, it's a lot.
yeah.
The whole county, it's almost $1,000.
So Mr. Casperson is working on a bill to help us to recoup some or all of that money. So just for your information. We've had a lot of sickness between the commission and the staff and employees, so sorry for some of the haphazard things on the packet and whatnot. It's been hard work sometimes. There's only two of us are here, and people coming in and working because when they're sick because they have to. It's just the way this great bug that's going around acts. That's all I have.
All right. City commission and committee reports, board of commission reports. All right, public comment?
I hope you didn't start reading early. All right, so when we talk about the first picture is the DDA, and I thought since we've been having some issues, sometimes a picture helps to kind of identify the concept and what's going on, and where the issues are with me, as it concerns funding. The top picture indicates the way things are supposed to happen with the DDA. You see where the money comes in from the organizations, the development programs, and then at the end of the funding year, whatever money is left goes back to those government organizations. the bottom is really what's been happening, which is instead of each year, at the end of the funding year, money going back to the appropriate government organizations, the DDA has been retaining that money. And the total retention is $1.2 million so far for the last 6 years. In addition, you can see the shaded area is kind of hard to make out. Non-eligible programs. Whatever's not in the development program cannot be supported. And that's the thing. What items are the DDA doing that are not specifically in the development program? So those are the issues that were brought before the state police. And that's what they were working on. In the statute, you can see specifically in Section 15, subsection 2, surplus funds shall revert proportionally to the respective taxing bodies. And the sentence above that, of course, is that revenues received for the development program only pursuant to tax and financing plan will be used for that purpose. You can't use funds outside that purpose. Good so far? The second one is, which is really helpful for me, is I was worried about the Headley Amendment as far as the attorney costs. But as you can see, what we have here in the Fourth Class City Act accounting rules, that all monies and taxes raised, loans, or appropriate, well, I won't read the whole thing. You can read it at your leisure. But basically, the money that was taken from the electric fund cannot be used for the MERS retirement. That's totally and completely illegal. So that money cannot be used. Any money that has been used has to be returned. Now the fun part, there's a place for citizens to come since they can't come here and talk. I'm across from Jerry's. Opening Monday. It's our grand opening. Come by, have coffee and donuts. We can talk about the issues. And so the very last page, which is my commentary kind of on those two items, at the coffee shop / center, we're going to be looking at two petitions. One is to end the DDA, and the other one is returning $2.6 million to the utility customers. Now, the reason I came up with $2.6 million was the exact amount that the city manager determined was in excess that could be used for MERS. So therefore, that amount is not necessary in order to support the continuing operation of the electric service. So that amount has been overcharged to customers and needs to be returned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ken Levine, 2722 South Hill Road, Gladstone. Thank you by leaving that comments of the people, the first part and the last part. Appreciate that. Oh, and you used to see the paper last week about the Escanaba and their city manager. Did you read those resumes? Those were resumes of them people. They used the count from 1 to 10, and them three had a 10. Now, why we got to spend $20,000 when there's people there that are qualified, in fact, more qualified than anybody we ever had here. College degrees and everything. They had planning commissions. They know about negotiation and all that other stuff that's needed in the city. So I don't understand, because when I read that, I was wondering, why are we spending $20,000 to do what the city of Escanaba did? They had one from Wisconsin, had one from Baraga, and I forgot what the other one was from. But these resumes, it tells you exactly there what they did and what they do. This is what we need. That's all they're going to do. We're going to have to find out anyways what they're already there. That should tell us something. These commissioners can have a say on that, what you just want to do the right thing that way and save $20,000. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Think about it anyway.
Thank you. My name is Derby Chase. I'm a member of the DDA Board of Gladstone. And just to ease the gentleman's mind that was up here first, I don't think you can see anything in the DBA board's minutes or any DDA board member
that wants to get into the property owning business again. There has been no agreement with the city for rent. And the only thing we did was make a recommendation that the DDA have input in the reuse of that building. Period. And I think if you people look at the DDA budget that's going to be presented, the DDA is interested in infrastructure. Roads, alleys, that's where the bulk of our money is going to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you for the information you just gave me, because someone else from this building here told me that you just wanted to rent that building. Okay, see, I received that information. I understand. I appreciate it. There's too much falsification with a split tongue coming out of this building. And this is one of the items. I'm glad you straightened it out. And also, I'd like to address you, Mr. Mayor. Escanava's got one hell of a good plan. They're looking for a city manager. I would like to request either you or have the city manager get in contact with Mr. O'Toole over there and get their procedure. I'm quite sure that he would give you their game plan and their procedure, how they look for different people in their organization. You would save the city $20,000. We would have had a manager 6 months ago. Right now, you don't even have one prospect that I know of. I'm requesting you to have either you yourself or have the city manager get in contact with Mr. O'Toole over there. 'Cause he's a pretty nice fella. Get their procedure on what they're doing and set that procedure up here. That is what we elected you people for, to represent us, to take care of the people of the citizens. I'm no money bag, and a lot of these people aren't. I haven't had a raise in my Social Security in 2 years. And it's not only me, there's a hell of a lot of people that are over in 65 who have not had a raise in their Social Security. Yet our property tax all went up this year. So that means I'm going to have less income this year. That's why I'm asking these people to start doing something that's positive for the city. And that would be one step that you would save automatically. You know, you spent $20,000 to find this guy. Thank you for your time, and I hope you look into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I gotta go.
Okay.
As a citizen. Steve View, 817 Delta Avenue. Citizens, commission, staff, intern manager Buckman, and Mayor Boswick. As a citizen, I learned there's a reason to plan, to make things happen, to advance the citizens' agenda, to provide a framework on decisions, to reduce crisis, to give direction through policy, for us to grow in confidence, to increase trust, so we can achieve our goals. I would like to ask the mayor if it would be possible over the next 6 months to look into what they call a manpower study or workforce analysis to ensure our city is the right size base for our city's requirements, that we have the right personnel in the proper places to accomplish all of our city objectives. Having too little or too many personnel will have significant effect on the efficiency and effectiveness of our city. And I just think that's, as a citizen, that's a first step that we need to do. I've tried to find out what everybody does and how much time it does to take everything, and I think that's one of the, I mean, I don't care how long it takes. I think planning that way first, our decisions can be made properly. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Ron Miasso, 1016 Delta Avenue. I am also a member of the DDA. Just a couple of things. You know, the DDA meets every month, and we certainly welcome the public to come to our meetings. Unfortunately, we really haven't had any participation in quite a long time, and we really would like to gather that input, and we'd like to let everyone know about the things that we are doing. For example, we just had a budget meeting, which Eric discussed, and it was a couple hours very well spent talking about all the projects that we in the DDA see which we want to go forward with, and there unfortunately was no one from the public at that session either. So I would like to certainly take this opportunity to welcome anyone to come to our meetings. Second point I want to make is that one of the things that we want to do is actually get someone who can talk from a legal standpoint about just all of the requirements that a DDA should do. We want to make sure that everybody is talking from the same page. We have somebody who can come in and maybe run a town hall type of a meeting so that everybody understands exactly what a DDA is, what it isn't, and how we fit in with the overall picture. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to city commissioner comments. Commissioner Mantua.
I'd just like to make a comment about the forum that we had, the public forum about the engineering study being done. I think several of the other commissioners were there, and it was a great turnout by the public. A lot of good input. There was a lot of staff members there, and it was a really good session and a lot of good ideas, and it was great to see. I think there was about double the number of people that were expected there from the public. So there's going to be some more of those sessions coming up in the summer, and I would encourage everyone to continue attending and getting input on that study.
All right, Commissioner Thompson.
I'd just like to say another thank you to the Community Foundation for what they do for Gladstone, and I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but they do a lot for the kids in this area. They put out a lot of scholarships and provide a lot of opportunity for kids that are going to college. So it's really nice that they're here and that they're carrying on what Dr. Mary Cretins wanted. I'd just like to say another thank you to them. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Commissioner View.
Basically, I want to thank the DDA board members here today for helping out our citizens and setting some items straight that gets mixed up from one person to the next. I think it's great when we communicate like that and helps everybody out, gets our community moving forward. And I'd like to entertain an idea, maybe we could discuss at another meeting, maybe get some prices on it for broadcasting our meetings live, like we used to do. What the cost of that would be. I've had some people asking for that. They just don't feel comfortable being here, but they would like to know and be involved in it that way. And I think it's time to look at it again anyways.
Okay. I too want to thank the Delta County Community Foundation for everything that they've done for the city. And also, I want to reiterate what Derby had said. I personally, as a city commissioner and as a DDA member, would not be in favor of the city owning another building like that for a DDA. So I just want you to know that. Okay. And I don't have anything else. So now we're on to city clerk comments.
I don't have anything. I was out most of last week with the flu, so trying to catch up. So that's why you're getting the minutes tonight, or at least most of them. So still working on that. So that's all I have.
All right, now closed session to go over the negotiation and strategy of the union contracts. Does someone want to make a motion?
Make a motion to enter into closed session to consider strategy and negotiations connected with the collective bargaining agreement as allowable under the Open Meetings Act 267, 1976, 15.268, Section 8, Item C.
I'll support.
All right, motion by Commissioner Mantala, support by Commissioner Thompson. Roll call?
Commissioner Mantala,
Yes.
Commissioner Phelan, absent and excused, Commissioner Thompson,
Yes.
Commissioner View,
Yes.
Mayor Bostwick.
Yes. All right, we are in closed session.